The enigmatic entrepreneur whose words will make you sure. Know, trust, and believe. The master teacher has come to help you succeed. The gem dropper, the truth speaker, the voice in the universe that will bring you to your highest peak. Welcome to the Get High on Motivation Show with Mimi the Motivator, your favorite motivator's favorite motivator.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, love bugs. It is your favorite motivator's favorite motivator, Mimi the Motivator. But I am not alone, you see. I got a guest today. Watch out now, and she is a special guest. You see, she got a party hat next to her name. It's because it's her birthday. Let's give her a round of applause for her birthday today. Give her some birthday love wherever you are. Drop some birthday love into the comment section, and I'm gonna. All right, so we are going to jump right in today's show. As we always do, we will have some food for thought. Then we will have our conversation about, did you know there's a book inside of you? And then we're going to have a little question. Hopefully, Ms Brienne Smith has a question for us. If not, we'll have to dig one out of the files over here. All right, so let's get this party started. Today's food for thought comes from Plutarch. So I'm imagining Plutarch is from somebody long, long time ago. But Plutarch says, "'Tis a wise saying, drive on your own track." You know what? I feel like the universe does this special thing where they just send me the right kind of food for thought for the right time. So I'm just looking at your face and I'm thinking, how fitting is this? Drive on your own track. Now, I know you know about driving on your own track. What would you say about driving on your own track?
Probably, me and my best friend always have the saying, like, just stay in your own lane when we start to get in each other's business. So I think a lot of it is just like mind your own business and stop caring so much about what other people are doing and focus on you.
Ooh, I think I needed that message for me. Oh my God. Oh my God. I be all up in my friend's business. Like, Lord have mercy. And I be trying to like hold myself back sometimes, but it doesn't work. Not in real life. Not for me. You know, and I probably get on her nerves. I know I get on her nerves. I know probably too because she tells me. But I think drive on your own track. That is maybe something I definitely can focus on because I do tell myself on a regular basis to mind your own business, and that is
Mhm.
very hard for me. I have the personality of the advocate, on that Myers-Briggs thing. So that's my thing. That's my jam. Saving people, helping people, assisting people, loving on them. But I tend to love on them too hard sometimes. Like I can overwhelm you with help. I can overwhelm you with information when I feel like maybe you're going down the wrong track. So what this tells me personally, so I don't know about the rest of you all listening, because I'm working on being 1% better. And I know if you are listening to this show, then you are too, unless you are a first timer. So first timers, welcome. I'm going to call you a love bug. And I have this requirement. You have to work on being 1% better in one area of your life every day. So today, I think the area we're going to work on is minding our own business, because it can be challenging when you really are a caring person. I think also if you're a spiteful person, you probably can do it as well. But I know most people who don't mind their own business, I think it comes from a place of love, or at least in their head, it comes from a place of love. What do you think?
Either that or fear. A
Yes.
lot of times where you see a kid start to run out in the street and it's kind of like, stop. In that case, you want to not stay in your own lane. You want to pull someone else out of their lane.
Yes.
But also it's like our perception of what the right way of doing something is. And
Mm-hmm.
if you see someone, veering off doing their own thing, that kind of terrifies you because it's like, oh no, what could happen? Or like you think what the outcome might be, where is when you might tend to stick your nose in it occasionally. Like, like this didn't work for me, so you better not do it. But everyone's journey is not the same as yours.
Correct, correct. Wise words. Yeah, I was thinking about listening to you saying about some kids running in the street yesterday. I was on my way home from the park, and there was a group of kids, and they were playing not playing, but throwing the football back and forth as they were walking down the street. So, of course, the football kept going in the street. And
Hmm.
I'm just like, it's driving me nuts, and I'm wanting to say something, and I'm thinking, this is a different day and time. It's not village times like back in the day. It was okay for an adult to say something to you and it not be a big deal. Where these days, you might have somebody mama knocking at your door talking about don't be talking to my kids. I don't know. You never know what to expect. But I do believe that it serves us to put our own air mask on first. And I think that's what this kind of goes back to, driving on your own track. Make sure you're good before you're trying to go out into the world and making sure everybody else good and correct their actions and their behaviors and what they have going on in their life or relationships, finances, whatever. We always have an opinion. And the people in our lives who tend to love us the most, I think they tend to have the most opinions. I don't know about in
Hmm.
your family, but in my family.
Oh yeah, I think that's most families.
Yeah, so it can be a trivial thing, but I do believe that staying on your own track, even in the world of business, can be profitable, and not trying to veer away from what you desire to create and measuring it against what someone else is doing. I believe that we all were sent with our own vision. We were all sent with our own purpose. We were all sent with our own book. We won't get into that conversation yet, but I believe that we all were sent with something. There's nobody that's more special than the next person. I don't think that I'm more special than anybody else, and I don't think there's anybody out there more special than me either, because that would be my ego talking. But I believe
You're
that.
pretty special though. I was like, claim it. Go ahead, claim it. That's fine.
Well, yeah, I just believe though I could be more successful, and that anybody else probably we could be more successful if we stayed in our own lane, minded our own business, and drove on our own track. I think that's hugely important. I'm even thinking, my brain starts going in all these different directions, and I'm even thinking about there are certain tires for certain type of tracks. So if you're going to be on an off-road track, then you got to have off-road wheels. But if you're on one of those fast, tracks, race tracks, then there's a certain type of wheel for that as well. And if you are driving a 4x4 with some big chunky wheels, I don't think you probably got any business being in the fast lane at the fast track. Same way, I don't think you would want to take your Lamborghini out into the woods and try to go through some hills. So I think it's about us being mindful of what our area is. What is our area of expertise? What is our talent, our true talent that we could focus on and bring to the world? Because I feel like we owe the world our talent. Whatever it might be, we owe it to the world to bring it to the surface or to share them within what we have. So, with that being said, I want to share this lady that you are looking at, because I didn't tell you anything about her because I didn't want you to get too excited yet. But this lady that you're looking at, not only is it her birthday, and not only is she the absolute positively best hugger in Colorado Springs, and I'm almost thinking the best hugger in the United States. And y'all probably looking at me like I'm crazy, right? And I've mentioned her on a few shows. But I remember this concept I was told about. If you hug somebody for, I want to say like 13 seconds, that it can change their vibrational altitude. You can change what's going on within them. And I met this lady, y'all, at Toastmasters, and we kind of just had a liking to each other. And when I would see her, she would give me the biggest, longest hug where I'm like, am I supposed to hug this long? Is this okay? Am I supposed to feel this way? I've been thinking all these things like, oh my gosh, she's really just hugging me. Because some people kind of hug you and it's
Ugh.
not a hug, you know. And you gave me a real hug that I feel like I had never had in my life before. It was a hug that told you that everything was okay, and even if it wasn't, it's going to be okay now. It's a hug that I could take with me anywhere I go, is what I believe, okay? So I want to tell y'all a little bit about Ms Brienne's story. So Ms Brienne wrote a book when she was a teenager. I'll tell you how progressive she is. And the name of the book, I want to make sure that I got it right, is Spooning Leads to Forking. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. And
Oh
it's
my God.
not a cookbook.
I so love the name. When I said the name, I was like, ah! I was like, that's so awesome. Because my marketing brain went off. My marketing brain was like, that is a winner. Like, brr, 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 brr. Look, this is what I heard in my head. Yes, but that I know that's how I knew that. I was like, this girl is magical. She is definitely magical. Let me tell you what else this girl has done. Now, she got banned from Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. So she self-published her book, made it free online. Like, you are not going to stop me. She's unstoppable. Even during this pandemic, when everybody else was hiding in their houses and trying to figure out what they going to do with their lives, this woman hopped in an RV with a woman and went around the country. She learned, I want to say, is it called graphology? Is that the correct?
Mhm.
And wrote a best-selling book. They have this book that is out there making flames. And so I'm going to tell y'all a secret. Let me tell you why I reached out to her. Because me and a couple people just kept on saying, man, I need to write a book. I need to write a book. I'm like, well, I know a book publishing pro. She could tell us what to do. And I would just say it every night, but it never. And then one day the light bulb went off. And I said, oh, yeah, we got to get her. We got to get her, and we got to get her to teach us a class so we can know what to do, because I know she knows what to do. So, Ms Brienne, besides what I have told them, can you tell us a little about yourself, please?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for having me today, Mimi. It's so good to see your face. And it's hard during the pandemic because you can't really hug anybody. It's like, that back and forth, like, do you do hugs now or not? So it's, at least I have two cats. I can hug them. But as far as the book publishing goes, I've been writing my entire life. And it's like, it wasn't until a few years ago, a friend of mine was just like, why don't you publish anything? And it's just like a light bulb went off. It's like, when you're finding like what your passion is, sometimes it's not obvious because it's something that might come like so easy to you. It's like, I don't think that's anything special. So that's what kind of writing was for me. It came so easily to me. I didn't feel like it was anything special or anything, aside from my close friends, anyone would want to read. And so when my friend mentioned this, she's like, oh yeah, let me hook you up with my publisher. And I'm just like, oh, scrambling at that point. And it was really interesting because at that point, I didn't know anything about publishing. It's just like, you write this book and then you hope that somebody picks you up and it becomes famous and you end up on Oprah and the whole spiel rolls out in your mind. And so I met up with my friend's publisher, and I first started feeling like something was kind of off when he told me that, you know, uh, that my content wasn't what he was looking for. So the book Spooning Leads to Forking, if the title doesn't give it away, it's a gay romance story. And something he told me is like he wouldn't publish a story with two boys together, but if I wanted to write something with two girls, then he'd consider it. And then I was like, that's kind of icky. Ew. I was like,
That's yeah. First, it's a double standard, first and foremost. But I'm gonna just leave that alone. You keep telling your story.
right. And so in exchange for like a book, he said he would like do the editing, the book cover design and like all that. And it's like, and then, that was red flag number two because I'm like, I want to have like all the design concepts. So I went on his website and the covers were kind of awful.
Oh my!
And it's like, especially since I have a graphic design degree, I was like, I'm not giving this man my book. And so like after, a couple strikes, I thanked my friend and then I started doing my own research into self-publishing.
Yes.
And so I wrote this book, I think it's about 12 years ago now. And so it's taken me this long to finally publish it because it's like, one, it's hard for me to let go of control. And two, like I have a vision of what I want it to be. And if someone I'm working with doesn't share that vision, then it feels like, I'm kind of copying out or, disappointment that it's not what I imagined.
Yeah.
And so I did a ton of research and ended up designing, editing, self-publishing my book on my own, and it did really well. I think I sold about 400 copies the first 2 months. And then I suddenly logged on to my Amazon account and it said it was blocked. And so I did like a ton of research. I tried to contact their customer support, and all they would send me was their terms of service. Like I couldn't get a straight answer out of anybody.
Oh my.
And so I did my own digging, and it finds out they they'll block LGBT content from like searches. They claimed it was because they want to protect their customers, like not unintentionally outing them or something like that. It was like a really weird excuse. And then just like the erotic content too
Yeah.
was against their terms of service. But I've read some like, some raunchy stuff off of Amazon. So I'm even to this day I don't know why like my book particularly was banned.
Hmm.
But it was like, okay, after I was like depressed a couple months, ate the Haagen-Dazs ice cream, like binged on that for a while. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it led to a friend of mine hearing about what happened, and she got me in touch with Polly Latovsky at My Word Publishing, and she was like, I'm going to hire you so you can like tell people what not to do in publishing. And meanwhile, I'm going to teach you everything I know about self-publishing. And so here I am to
Wow.
hopefully share my knowledge and experience.
Yes. Well, we are so very appreciative of you because what I believe is that not just myself, but there is somebody listening right now that has a book inside of them. So, for that person, what would you say to them for the person who's afraid to write a book or who doesn't think that they're good enough? They don't think that they have that special power. Do you think that they really need that special power to write a book?
No, no, not at all. And sometimes, funnily enough, it's the medium. So a lot of people, like in this technology age, we don't actually write with pen and paper.
Yeah.
So like just the thought of that is daunting, but there's now like voice to text kind of thing too. Like if you have an idea, just pick up your phone and talk into it. Sometimes that's a lot easier. Or just like, get on a Zoom call and record yourself if you can like if you, sometimes like you can't really stand looking at yourself. Like I can't it weirds me out still even now just to like hear my own voice recording.
Yeah.
But like or just type it out. Like majority of my writing I just do on a notepad in my phone. Like I don't even use like Word documents until the very end kind of thing too. So it's whatever medium, whatever way you can get the words out, and they don't even have to be coherent. Like you don't like just birth this fully formed baby like as soon as you decide to write a book. It has a gestation process. So even if it's just like, a title or headers or like just points you want to make
Hmm.
or like the character, like just write something down. Like start a little hoard where whenever you get like an idea or a spark of inspiration,
Hmm.
and then go from there. And there's people that'll help you flesh it out, but for you just figure it out what it is that's important to you that you want to say, even if you think that your message isn't important or original. Do it anyway. Like no one's told it from your point of view.
Exactly. You heard what she said. No one has told it from your point of view. We can all be looking at the same thing, but let's just be honest. There's 4 books in the Bible that tell the same exact stories because of perspective, and each one of those perspectives are valuable. So what I believe is that your perspective is valuable, love bug. So go ahead and write your thoughts down. So I am with her. I have been using my phone and been using Otter AI because I had wrote a book 5 years ago. But when I moved to Colorado Springs, my entire backpack was stolen with the brand new MacBook Pro where I had typed it and the notebook where I had originally written it down. And so over these past few years, I'm like, I got to get back to writing this book. The book was almost done. So I've collected all the information, and I even, like, here and there will write something. So I pulled out this raggedy notebook that I haven't written in probably 2 years and pulled out this Otter AI service. And I read each page that I had in there. When I was done, I had at least 1,000 words, maybe 10,000 words. I don't know. I can't count. Let's say 1,000 words. But I was impressed just to know that it felt like progress. So I might not be published, but I got progress. And what I heard you say is that there is a gestation period. Can you talk a little bit more like about that so we don't feel like we have to have a perfect book ready to go from the onset?
Yeah, absolutely. So with my book, Spooning Leads to Forking, because I didn't have the money or like the know-how to get an editor, it took me 10 years of editing myself, just poking at it before I drove myself so crazy. And I was like, I don't care what state is in. I just like need this book out there. Like, and I need to birth this book. Like it needs to get out of me right now, kind
Yes.
of thing too. And the process is different for everybody. Some people it's like math. Like I struggle with basic math without my calculator on my phone, but for other people they just it just flows out of them, and
Mhm.
it's amazing and awesome. But as far as the gestation period, the actual writing process for my book only took 2 months. The editing took 10 years because of what I didn't know at the time. But for me, um it kind of comes out in bursts where it's this nagging idea that won't leave me alone until I get it out on paper or on screen.
Yeah.
And from there, it goes through a couple revisions depending on who you have looking at it. So there's always like book groups and writing critique groups that you can go to as well. But once your book is in the sort of final phases, that's initially when you'd want to give it to an editor to look at and then pursue the publishing process. So with the technology nowadays, publishers are becoming more and more obsolete. It's becoming more about like writing coaches, the people who will walk you through the process. But nowadays, you can like even with your 10,000 word document that you have now, you could turn that into a short story in like a matter of hours. That's published online on Amazon that you're selling, kind of thing too. And depending on like the quality,
Yeah.
also is another big one. Like what is your goal? Like, do you want to become a bestseller, or is this just like a bucket list item that you want to give out to friends or family, or just say you did? So there's like different levels of publishing depending on what your goal is.
Well, that makes sense. So let's give them a sneak peek of what to expect at the master class. So what can they expect at Get Paid for Your Thoughts, a beginner's guide to getting published fast?
Yes, yes, yes. So I'll go over the different types of publishing.
Mhm.
So when my I talked to my friend's publisher, he was actually a third party publisher, and
Mhm.
then there's like the big house like Penguin or Simon and Schuster,
Yeah.
and then there's self publishing. So I'll go over the different types, the pros and cons of each, and then the costs to expect if you decide to go with like a full service or just an editor, and the different types of editing too. So it's not just like someone goes through and just checks your commas and your spelling. There's like a whole different process. And then also with your layout, your book design, the book cover, we'll go over all of that. And then like the most important, the royalties you can make as
Oh,
well. Like what kind of money can you expect for publishing your book?
I want to hear about that part. I'm trying to make some.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make that MJ money. That's what I call it, MJ money. Because whether his name is Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan, they have money
Mm-hmm.
that just keeps coming in for something they did a long time ago. And that is what can happen with publishing a book. You putting your thoughts on paper, you can be getting paid years from now for writing it down one time. And what I know is that if you are watching or listening to this show, that you have a desire for greatness, that you have a desire for success, that you have a desire to be financially free, is what I want to believe. At least you definitely don't want to be broke now listening to this show. And what we know is that there are different types of income, and one of those types of income is residual income and passive income. And this is a way that you can have that stream of income coming in from you investing a little bit of time on getting your thoughts on paper. So I definitely want to thank you for having this conversation with us. So, as always, we always have a question at the end of the show. But before we get into that question, I want to remind everybody, go to Eventbrite or click a link somewhere that will get you an RSVP for Get Paid for Your Thoughts. All right? Because you want to be there. You want to get published. I promise you want residual income. You want passive income. You want that MJ money. So get registered for the class right now, because we don't have a whole lot of spots, because we want to be able to have her undivided attention so we can ask questions and get answers. So we are not opening this up to a whole lot of people. So make sure that you reserve your seat right now, right now. And if you can't find the link, then you better go to mimithemotivator.com or find me somewhere and say, girl, I can't find the link, and I will get it to you. So, Ms. Brienne, we have a couple of minutes left. Do you have a question that I can answer for you today?
Oh, yes. So, going with the theme of the podcast, tell us about your book.
Okay, well, I have all kind of books in my head. I have all kind of books on paper, honestly, in real life. I have started a few books. But the book that I am wanting to put out first is Take the Cold Shower, which is a 40-day transformation system that will shift you from where you are and put you in position to where you want to be. Because really, I know that it's all about the mindset. And so, taking this whole cold shower, it sounds crazy to people, but I have a group right now that is going through the process, through this whole transformation program, and they are loving it. Some of them was like, oh my gosh, it took my breath away to take a cold shower, so I'm just like, it's okay, but and that's because they didn't follow instructions, because if they followed instructions, it would have been a lot easier for them. But that is the book that I am dying to get out first. But I definitely want to write a book on metaphysics, about how you can use your mind to heal your body, because I have been writing that for a while, and I got a fiction book in me too. Thank you, Siri. But I have a fiction book in me as well that I started writing 15 years ago. That
Wow.
I moved to Florida. I had started moving and traveling, and I never completed it, but I do have the original transcript in my file cabinet. So that'll be the book that I one day get back to. Yeah, so thank you so much for that question. I want to thank you so much for your energy. Again, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. And if it's anybody else's birthday out there, happy birthday. I'm about to step into Leo season, so y'all better watch out and be like,
Mm,
ah. So, I know you got some little Leo in you. You're on that cusp. I'm a cusp baby
yeah,
as well. I'm on the other
yeah.
end of the cusp, though.
I'm a Cancer in a family full of Leos, so I'm very familiar with that Leo energy.
I'm sorry for you. I,
Oh,
I
it's
send you
okay.
love, because I can imagine what it is to deal with us, and it'll be a whole bunch of us. My dad's a
Um,
Cancer, so he definitely knew how to deal with me, and I appreciate him for that. But I definitely just want to express my fullest appreciation, not only for coming on to the show today, but who you are in the world, who you are in the community, who you are for Colorado Springs and beyond, because you are a staple in our community, is what I know. I see your faces in places that are only for people who care about what's going on in the world, and that's where I see you. And I constantly see you being involved and doing the work, and what do you call it, driving on your own track.
staying in your own lane.
Yes, yes. So I appreciate you for setting that example for us. Love bugs, make sure you follow Miss Brienne Smith. She is out there. Tell them where to find you. Where do you want them to contact you?
You can find me on Facebook. I think my handle is Brianne Smith 56, and then anywhere else like Instagram, TikTok, it's BRIE2230
All right, we'll put a
is
link
my handle.
here so they can find you, because she's awesome. She's amazing, and she has two wonderful cats that I'm like, what do they do when she's all busy and stuff?
Nothing. Just getting in trouble.
Yes. Well, love bugs, I am your favorite motivator's favorite motivator, and this is the Get High on Motivation show. Be happy, be healthy, but most importantly, be you, and stay in your own lane, on your own track, mind your own business. We love you.
Thank you.